Hi, I'm Mr. Cab. This is Storm Lancers. This is an indie game that was actually 2 days ago in a Nintendo Direct, and that's the first I ever heard of it. I'll be upfront, I don't know anything about the company that made this, but the game looks kind of rad, so we're playing. We have here, there's a lot of cool cutscenes that unfortunately we won't see much more of because we're just going to go and get into this. It's kind of, I've been phrasing this, what if Contra and Borderlands kind of got together and made a roguelike? That's what we kind of have here. We have got a bunch of upgrades that we're starting with. You know, it's a roguelike, so there's a bunch of permanent upgrades that are here. Get some stuff. There's some things on the ship. The game kind of feels incomplete, but we're just going to go and do this. We have some movement tech that we get from after the first playthrough, so this is kind of necessarily New Game Plus, although I guess we could look at a new game. As far as I know, there's not really a speed community for this yet. I'm just recording this literally the Sunday after the game came out. It's been out for not even 72 hours yet. So, let's go. There's 5 stages. We get some melee weapons, we get some ranged weapons. They all behave somewhat similarly. They get stronger as we go through stages. Got a health upgrade there. So we got these daggers. Part of the buffs we can get from the shop, the so-called soul etchings, is slightly better starting weapons. And by that, you know, slightly better than like the starting weapon. All these chests that we're running by cost that much money to open. And quite frankly, we're not interested in anything here. The enemies, if we kill them, we could get money from them. But again, we're not too interested. There are some nice buffs there. There's some nice buffs there. I mean, they exist. I'm going to buy that potion now because it's only 2,000. That's a really big one. And the shop contents are somewhat random. There's a shop at the end of the first 4 stages. So from here, I'm just a little interested in getting a better weapon, which is going to take a little bit of money. Looks like we somehow ended up in a version of this where I actually have to fight the monsters, which is unfortunate. This room, despite this being like a somewhat procedurally generated game, each run does have some similarities of things that, consistencies. I don't know what else to call it. So there's usually like a challenge room there at the first level. That axe is, first of all, better than the weapon I had. I've been breaking the weapons up into 3 different groups. The swords, the axes, the lances, and the polearms are kind of between the good weapons and the okay weapons. I forget what they even call those knives, but they're in like that second group. It's alright, mostly because it can do some damage fast, but it also has absolutely terrible range. I can't open this. Yeah, let's grab a pole arm. Well, no, the game's not gonna let me grab it. That's fine. Like I've been pretty much implying, like the game, there's no weapon like experience or anything like that. It's straight up the money. And so like the healing chests, which are like that one there, that was 1,800. They kind of go up in price as the game goes on. What I really want is a better gun. I've got this little pea shooter that does a little bit of damage, but not enough for me to really care about it. Those enemies with crowns on their head, they give us like the kind of weird soul etching capability material. It's that 180 on the screen right now. That's what we use for upgrades between runs. Gamble. Got some money. Cool. So fortunately, with all the health upgrades, we're fine here. Welcome to our first boss, Star Bear. It's kind of weird, big scorpion bull charging creature, but for the first third of its life meter, it just kind of lives under the ground. You want it kind of get close to it. We're going to keep shooting it with this starting weapon that we got. Starting gun we got because we got the perk for getting better starting guns is an incendiary breech loader. That gives us a little bit of literal firepower to go with it. It's going to use this acid throwing attack, which is really annoying because we now have these giant acid clouds everywhere, so we can't really do much. You can see when every time we shoot a bullet, we got like a reload timer before we can shoot. It's cooldown on every shot. I still want to use it though because I want to get that chip damage in from setting it on fire. Unfortunately, for the boss, its hitbox is kind of in its head. Really go through your death animation. Let's do this. So those are buffs that kind of... The problem with a lot of those buffs is they tend to have a negative that goes with them. Greater Sword of Venom, I will take that. Like I keep saying, what I really want is a gun. That style one I can kind of tell is the one that just gives me extra damage as I get kills. That's like the one that doesn't have a serious drawback. Some of them are like, we do more damage. You damage a second enemy, but if there's no enemies around, you are the second thing that gets damaged. It's like, I really don't want that. So we still have our elixir, which is good. Ow. Because that might happen. So we want to just generally work our way up and to the right in this stage. You can kind of already see, like, now we've got a venom weapon. So every time we hit something, it turns green. I don't have a good explanation for you on do the persistent damage types stack. I don't want to touch that though. The game's a little buggy in that sometimes your weapons just don't work. Your double jump just won't work. This is currently a Switch 2 exclusive. So like, we're not sure what happened there. This is what I was talking about earlier on when I said like, I don't know much about the company that made this. This game feels buggy, and not in a good speedrun way. It's just feels a little rushed at the end. Never really saw that get there. And so the guitars are like, they exist. You know, by the time I kill this enemy and get it, because it's a stronger enemy, we're just gonna go and fight the Goliath. I want a better gun, because the one I have right now is kind of bad. And when you start getting into these bosses that sometimes you want to just hit them with ranged damage and you just can't. So I'm going to duck here to make sure I don't like start walking into it. Because if you go inside of it, like, you just end up in its hitbox and you can't actually damage it. So there we go. Like, just make sure we get some fire damage in. I don't want to be part of that show. So this is actually what I want to see because I don't have a good ranged weapon. I just want to get in its face. Not having a ranged weapon is kind of bad for this. So we're still gonna like do what we can. I wasn't actually sure how that was going to work out. Ow. So that's really what I want to do right now is just try and keep tagging him for the fire damage if he's at range. Platforms, please. Well, we got him. So you'll see later probably what some of the better guns can do. Enhanced toxic rifle, but we don't have 14,000. Toxic bulk caps. I'll take that. So now we go from having this single shot weapon to whatever, something else. That air dash is kind of required there. You get the air dash in that little open room. So the slide, the double jump, the air dash, and the grapple beam, which we haven't seen get used yet, are kind of permanent upgrades. So that door is red because it costs health to get through. Ow. So when we're using the slide, we are actually invincible, straight up, the intended game mechanic. So we're gonna get money from this guy. We are. So this is a slightly annoying mechanic. The battery counts as our weapon item that we're carrying around. So to keep this potion that I got in the first stage, we gotta do a little bit of a dance there. I think if I'm up here, does it not spawn the enemy up here? Yeah. The game kind of bugs out and doesn't spawn one of the three enemies. Works for me. One less enemy to kill. You don't have to kill them to advance, but, you know, it's nice. So here, we must grab this battery and take it to the charging station. And because, again, right, there's no boss in this stage, but I do want to at least get something to try and get an upgrade. What is this? Blazing axe. Nice. And so, in like basically every stage, like I was saying earlier, right? The weapons just get better. They do more damage. Cool. So again, we put the battery back, we grab the item, and then we go. And then we just wait. This stage is the descent. There's no actual boss in it, so we really are just kind of going as fast as we can to the bottom. These enemies should look familiar from stage 2. Let's see. Try to get that. Please stay on the vehicle until it comes to a complete stop, I guess. Ow. So we do have one extra life. There's a perk that we can eventually get to have a second extra life. This is where we get grapple hook, which is a really awkward item to use. I have 21,000. Where are you? We'll get that. As far as I can tell, fire, poison, and ice don't have specifically different damage values. But I think ice is kind of billed as the best one, but I don't see it actually doing extra damage. I don't know. That will take a little more research. So this is every stage, right? Monsters and everything else do more damage. That includes the final stage here. So I'm very interested. In just taking a few enemies out here. Getting up around 30,000. Also known as the approximate cost of most of the chests in this level that have reasonably passable weapons. Don't want to get hit by that. So what we really want to do here, and like the game just kind of picks one of those and sends us up there. Great death sound effect here. This is also a stage where I fully expect to eventually get a little bit of a sound desync. Like I said, we wanted 15,000 chests. I don't want the greatsword. The greatswords I would definitely put into the class of really bad weapons in this game. They have huge wind-up times. They can't attack very often. And if you miss, you're just stuck. So I'm basically hunting for a weapon at this point. I'm also hunting for when the stage takes this vertical turn. Don't want to be next to that guy because you'll just get hit by the thrown weapon like immediately. $5,000 gold weapon. Some bolt caster. I think the one I have is better. Bolt casters are nice just because they are these weapons that fire a full sequence of shots. And they all tend to do quite a bit of damage. So we want them. What is this? Nothing. So this stage, I think, compared to the others, is not really procedurally generated at all. I think it just is. Again, we're invincible when we're sliding, so I definitely want to be sliding when that spiny egg comes by me. And I don't want to take too much damage, because I want to save this potion, but I think it's going to just get used very soon. I've had runs where I do nothing but use the bolt caster, so I think we're gonna open this thing. That spiky looking chest is a blood chest. It costs health to open instead of money. Now compared to like the last weapon, you can see like this thing is doing all the damage. Yeah, I do have enough money to open this. I want a good sword. I'll take the full arm of Venom. So weapons kind of just get divided into how many stars do they get. That's how powerful they are. Nothing too fancy. Hi. So you here with the colors get a little darker. We're very close to the end. We've got to do a little bit of a switcheroo here. So try and go through that door. The game says, no, you can't do that. Try and get those chests. The game says, no, you can't do that. So go in the middle. The game says I don't have a double jump. Like I said, this game's kind of buggy. So I want whatever this is. It's not great. I can use it now. Hello, hookshot. Anyway, it turns out the captain of our ship was the villain the whole time. He looks amazing. Unfortunately, he's a fan of Portal, so he just shoots. He has 2 attacks, really. I guess he has 3 attacks. But the biggest thing he's gonna do is that I didn't even realize he could just slide through those. Like I said, this game's been out for like what, a couple of days. So the pole arm is kind of nifty. So between phases, he basically decides he's going to shift reality, and now the stage looks a lot like stage 2. This is the desert. So you don't want to touch that. So we're just going to slide through all these shots now. So there's his second attack. He starts doing this, I think, in phase 2. This largely just wastes time. Ow. So with like the weapons from the final stage, these guys are all just jokes. This guy up top tends to be a huge problem because he's lobbing bombs around, and he's kind of protected by the boss man's shield. I think the ranged weapon here has superior damage to my melee attack right now. Finally went and turned the original problem I had on its head. So he's vulnerable again. At this point, I'm more interested in killing the enemies from the perspective of they are end stage enemies. So they are dangerous in that perspective. Is this gonna do it? That did it. So time is when we leave this screen. Or at least I'm assuming it is. Honestly, I don't know if anybody's done any looking into it yet. But we do get an in-game time. I feel like this game has like some pretty cool animation. It's got a lot of neat concepts. It feels half finished. Because like, there's double jump bugs. Sometimes you lose your shots. Sometimes the sounds get desynced. Shouts to the captain. It's got the eye patch and everything. So we have fixed one thread of reality here, and we fixed this planet, I guess, for now. But because it's only one thread, the time loop repeats. They kind of allude to it. They haven't really explained it yet. Like I said, the game has been out for what, 2.5 days, 3 days. Came out the middle of Friday. So, yeah. Oh no. That smile on the bottom right, though. So there's 2251. I feel like this is a time that's going to keep going down as the game stays out, but it's certainly in that range of, this game's neat. This game's quick enough. It's not going to be much longer than this. At this point, what do I have? Like, I have 3 times under 30 minutes. And realistically, like, when I'm trying to go fast, we're in this range right now, and you can probably also pick out some spots in there where it's like, I could have gone faster. I could have gone faster. It's going to largely be figuring out what does going fast mean, and how do you balance that against making sure you have the right weapon so that when you're fighting Goliath and you're sitting there with your pea shooter, well, can you get a better one? Do better chip damage. So yeah, that is Storm Chasers. I think it's a neat, fun little game. I hope they fix the bugs and make another one, or do something with this. What else do we have that we didn't talk about at all? Multiple characters. You can play as the other dude from the opening. They have these other uniforms. Your guess is as good as mine with all the empty space that's up here. Hopefully something happens, but this is kind of where we are. Yeah, let's grab that. Later.